The Australia Cup is back, and that means Western Sydney Wanderers are back. This year I want to do a much better job of covering the club who has my heart, the Western Sydney Wanderers. It's been a tough few seasons, but for some unholy reason I am optimistic yet again ahead of another A-League season and Australia Cup season. And speaking of the Australia Cup, this video is going to be previewing our upcoming game against Tigers FC on Wednesday night. I'm going to do a much bigger video later in the year, closer to the start of the A-League season, with a full preview, all the incomings, all the outgoings of what the squad will actually look like. But for now, we're going to focus specifically on this Australia Cup run, talking about this game on Wednesday night, how I think we're going to go, who are Tigers FC, all the good things about the Australia Cup I bloody love. Let's get stuck into it. So in the past, the Wanderers do have quite a bad reputation in the Australia Cup. If anything, we are probably the club who has been victim of a cup set more than anyone else. We of course had the famous one against Adelaide City back in the day, and even last year we went out to Heidelberg United in the round of 16. But overall, I think the most damning stat for us as a club is the fact we've never made a final. This competition has been going for over a decade now, and the furthest we've got is the semi-finals in 2017 and 2018. And when I look at the landscape of the current A-League clubs around the country, I do think we are one of the strongest squads on paper. We say it every year, but this year in particular, there's a lot of talent off the books, some going to NPL clubs, a lot to Southeast Asia, whereas the Wanderers, from the early portion of this Australia Cup period, which is really where clubs are most vulnerable for that cup set, we do look like one of the strongest squads on paper. So again, another reason to be optimistic. And I hope there's a lot of you out there who are feeling that way as well. Last year was horrible as a Wanderers fan. Let's leave it in the past. Let's move forward. Hopefully we're entering a new chapter as a club. I think there's a lot of good early signs there as well. But again, more about that in a future video. Today, we are just focusing on this Australia Cup fixture. So let's get to it. Who the bloody hell are Tigers FC? It's a very broad name. This club could literally be from anywhere in the country. But in fact, they are from Canberra, playing in the capital football pyramid. Currently sitting third in the NPL behind the Monaro Panthers and Canberra, Croatia. Another reason you might not be familiar with their name is the fact they rebranded in 2022. They used to be Cooma FC, they are now Tigers FC. They've also changed their location. Previously, they were in Cooma. Now they play out of the AIS in Canberra itself. As for their history in the Australia Cup, they've actually competed at this level twice in the past, going up against Hume City and Apia Leichhardt. On both occasions, however, they have failed to score, losing to Hume City 2-0 and Apia 3-0. And whilst you can never ride out an upset when it comes to our club going into the Australia Cup, this one in particular I am confident about. And say we do end up losing, this would probably go down as the biggest upset in Australia Cup history. So, with that in mind, how are we going to line up? What is the Wanderers looking like going into this upcoming game? So our biggest hint for what the lineup's going to look like is a recent friendly we played against Hakoah FC, where the Wanderers actually won 11-0. It was a midweek fixture against an NPL club who probably were fielding a lot of juniors out there. We're unsure about their lineup. However, West Sydney Fan on X did share this with us, along with the following information. It looks like we'll be playing a 4-2-3-1 high pressing system similar to what Ufuk Talay played at Sydney FC. I think a lot of us did expect that to come across with Talay to the club, but what about his lineup? What does he actually put on the pitch? So we've got Brandon Borrello up top, Liam Gillian, Miguel DiPizio, two new signings, Aidan Hammond, midfield of Cicluna and Fergate, and then the back line, Gersbach, Panazopoulos, Ferreira, and Madanya, as well as Vidakovic in goal. And if we do see this exact same lineup on the pitch, I do expect us to get the job done. It's a very strong squad this early in the season. Obviously in the lineup, we do see a couple of new signings in there. Ferreira, Gillian, DiPizio, Madanya, all four much needed acquisitions in my mind. There are also the rumours, of course, Nicholas Milanovic coming in, so imagine him slotting in there on that left side in place of Gillian. It's a really strong team, and I'm confident. I know I shouldn't be, but I always am. I'm confident that this side can get the job done and go deep into this Australia Cup competition. Now, as for the playstyle, as West Sydney fans said here, a high pressing system. And that does match up exactly with what Ufuk Talay said when he was appointed the head coach of the Wanderers. Western Sydney is a place built on resilience, hard work and diversity, and that absolutely shapes how I see the game. I want the team to reflect that identity, hunger, aggression in the right moments, and never taking a backward step. Members and fans can expect to see a side that plays with intensity, presses with purpose, and shows courage on the ball. It's about representing the community with pride and making sure when people watch us, they see themselves in the way the team competes. And while some of that does sound a bit of fluff just to get fans on side, especially when you are coming across from Sydney FC, there are some key things in there that I do think suit our squad quite well, and that is the high pressing. Brendan Borrello is a runner, and I can see exactly why he was in the World Cup training squad for as long as he was. Our strikers at the World Cup didn't do anything except run. Borrello actually, well, this is crazy, Borrello actually might have been more effective than some of the guys we took, just due to the fact he can just run non-stop. And then another line in there is showing courage on the ball. I know he wasn't everyone's cup of tea last year, but that is a line that perfectly sums up the way Aidan Hammond plays. He will try whatever he feels like on the ball, and honestly, against a team like this in the Australia Cup, it's probably going to be a lot more of end product with some of the chances he can create than we've seen in the A-League last year. So from the outset, if I were to pick some players for us to keep an eye on in this game, it would be Aidan Hammond and it would also be Brendan Borrello. Two players who I think are going to suit this Ufuk Talay style quite well. I'm also very excited to see Medanya in this squad, see what he can do. He's always been someone who I've rated quite highly whilst he was at Adelaide. And then I honestly think Cicluna and Fergate, on their day, it's the best midfield partnership in the entire league. We didn't see it last year. We didn't see the best of anyone last year, truth be told. But I'm hopeful, yet again, that we might see something special this Wednesday night. Anyway, that wraps up pretty much everything from me in this video. A nice quick one here and a little preview for you to listen to before that Australia Cup game. Let me know if you enjoyed this or what types of style of content you would like to see in future from me. I definitely want to get around the club a lot more this year. I've always been quite neutral, even though I'm very biased towards the Wanderers. And it's kind of why I've steered away from doing this content. But I think now's a good time to celebrate the club, help get it back on track, and hopefully we can finally win a trophy. And honestly, out of all of them, I would love to win the Australia Cup because this competition for me, it's the pinnacle of Australian football. I think if it's an open competition, you win this, you are truly the best club in the country. At least 3 months before the season starts. Anyway, that's enough from me. Long live the Australia Cup. Come on, you Wanderers. Brendan Borrello hat-trick.